No one told you this, but there is a formula to start an art business that all successful artists have used. Today I'll reveal the blueprint so that you can just copy paste it and make all the money in the world. You want to start an art business because you are part of the top 20% of people in the world. You know you can actually pull it off. And what do you do when you want to start something? You start researching, you start watching videos on YouTube, you start reading books all over the place, you start to focus deep into the details of what it means to start an art business. But you are a superstar. You know that most details don't matter. You know the 80-20 principle. You've read the book. You know that 20% of things will have 80% of the impact, but you are a superstar. You also know that as a beginner, you can't possibly know which 20% things will have 80% of the impact. And so what do? You start researching some more. You go on YouTube, watch all sorts of videos, and everybody is saying different things. Everybody is sharing their advice, but the advice is not consistent with the other advice. And you also know that thinking is not the same as doing. And in all that research time, you are not doing anything. And so you've reached this point where you realize that you've pushed the research to its absolute limits. Everything that you get is either stuff that you already know or stuff that is way too advanced and stuff that you will not be executing on in the next 2 years. And as you are researching, there's one thing you cannot get out of your mind. Why is everybody keeping everything secret? Why are the galleries not explaining how they sell art? Why are the artists not revealing their income streams? Why are the schools not explaining the artists how to make money with their art? And all of this secrecy is annoying. And so what do you do in that moment? You go to the autobiographies. You read the autobiographies. And what do you see? You see them talking about art movements and art styles. What the hell is going on? All the important stuff they are leaving out. They are not explaining how this artist goes from $500 a piece to $100,000 a piece in a 2-year period. And then it suddenly hits you. These autobiographies don't have the information because they are not made for people like you. They are made for people, regular people who are interested in history. And so what you do in that moment, you go to YouTube once more, where you started in the first place, and then you discover more about the algorithm overlords, and you realize that these YouTubers can't actually give you the information. They can go into great detail. They can explain you all the steps. They have to play the algorithm game. And the algorithm game tells them that their videos need to have broad appeal. They can't go too deep. And so you suddenly realize that the algorithm overlords are actually preventing you from getting the information. The gatekeepers in the school are preventing you from getting the information. And why are they preventing you from getting the information? Because it is way more beneficial for them when you are stupid. It is way more beneficial for them when you don't know anything. The less you know, the weaker you are, the more degrees you will buy, the more videos you will watch. And so now you're sitting there in your research phase thinking by yourself, wow, how am I going to solve this? You know you're meant to become an artist entrepreneur. Someone that sells his vibe, his personality, his art, his products, but not just that. Oh no, somebody that is sought after. Somebody that people want on stages and ask for speeches and then pay $20,000 for an hour speech. Someone that has collectors lining up outside waiting for your next release. Oh my God, I can't believe what this guy is going to create next. This is going to be unbelievable. Fans lining up, girls in your DMs asking for your time. You know you are the chosen one. You know you've always been part of the top 20%. And as you are researching, sitting there in your studio, the most unexpected, strangest thing happens. You start to doubt yourself. And doubting yourself as an artist is not the same as the normies that are doubting themselves. For the normies that don't do anything important in life, doubting themselves is not that painful. If you are a mechanic and you are working on a new Tesla car and you're a little bit incompetent about the Tesla motors and it's not really working that well and you're doubting yourself, fine. Do some research, learn about the Tesla cars. It's not gonna be painful. You will grow and it's all gonna be fine. But if you're an artist, you can detach yourself from your artworks. An artist is expressing himself. The art is resemblance of their true nature, of their personality. So what does it mean to doubt yourself as an artist? What does it mean to find your own art ugly? It means you find yourself ugly. It means you doubt your own soul. It means you feel absolutely terrible to your core. And as you're sitting there in your studio doing research, you come across this amazing piece of business advice from some of these business people. If you don't spend money, you can't fail. And now you have something to reduce your fears. Just simply don't spend money. If you don't spend money, you can't fail. And so how are you going to drive traffic if you don't spend money? Bingo. Social media. Social media. So you go on social media, you start to make your first post, everything starts to grow, everything starts to become better. You are getting likes, 5 likes, 10 likes, 20 likes, 100 likes a post. But now there's a different problem. You start to realize that likes don't actually result in sales. And the more likes you get, the bigger the difference between the likes and the amount of money in your bank account grows. And the more likes you get, the more unsold art in your studio grows. And so now you suddenly realize that soon you have to stop painting because you don't have any space anymore in your studio. Who would have thought that a lack of space would become your biggest problem? This is absolutely nuts. And you are not just smart. You are kind of a creative genius. You get these light bulb moments in your mind, chosen by God or the universe, that puts these creative thoughts in you as if you are chosen to transform the world, chosen to progress society forward, chosen to do something great. And as a creative genius, you look at these algorithms, these social medias, and you start to see what's going on. The top of the food chain is making massive amounts of money, but all the rest is not getting anything. They are constantly feeding the system, constantly producing content, constantly thinking and giving themselves their all for nothing in return. And then you have to ask yourself, do I want to be cattle that will be slaughtered for the algorithm overlords that constantly need to be fed, that are constantly hungry, algorithm overlords that are designed by fat nerds with glasses on their computers typing away code into a prompter that nobody understands, not even themselves. Code that's supposed to create an algorithm that's supposed to be able to decide what good content is and bad content. But your definition of good content and bad content is definitely different from their definition of good and bad content. Look at what gets all the views. Millions of views, hundreds of millions of views for a video. Lost leaves the circle, wins $1 million. What the hell is going on? Who is watching this stuff? And so you're sitting there in your studio, realizing that the high level content is pushed down in the algorithm, and the low level content, the don't leave the circle content, is all the way pushed up to the highest of highs. And you don't think it's fair. And you're listening to your podcast in your studio. And what are you doing with all that information? Nothing. You haven't even put up your art for sale. 70% of artists, according to my polls, haven't put their art up for sale yet. And you realize you don't need a psychologist to tell you this stuff. You realize that you making art is partially amazing, partially genius, and partially a coping mechanism. Because you are afraid to step in the marketplace. You know it's way easier to make art than to listen to people telling you what they think about your art. Now luckily, there is a solution to all of this. There is a way to increase the certainty of your art selling to that extent that you will not be afraid of stepping into the marketplace anymore. There is a way for you to go into the forest and slay that dragon and come back with a heroic victory story to tell the tribe, and make sure that you finally become the artist that you deserve, and make sure that every collector will be lining up to buy your work, and make sure that you will be standing on those stages with people listening to you, and make sure that those girls will be lining up in your DMs thinking, oh my god, this guy is unbelievable. I can't sleep anymore. I can't sleep anymore. I want this guy to fuck me so goddamn hard. This is all possible if you understand the hunter-gatherer principle. Making art that sells is not the same as making avant-garde art. Making art that sells has nothing to do with composition. Making art that sells has nothing to do with originality. Making art that sells has nothing to do with expressing yourself. Making art that sells has everything to do with hunting art that sells. The lucrative artists are hunter-gatherers. They understand that they are hunter-gatherers. And what do? They go out in the forest of the art world and they hunt for rabbits. They hunt for reindeer. They hunt for art that sells. They hunt for beauty. They hunt for demand. They hunt for signs that people love particular works of art. And then when they gather all of that information in the large storage centers of their brain, or if they're smart about it, they use interactive muse banks, as I explain in the artist formula. Once they have all of that information gathered, all of the reindeer, they start making art based on that. The great artists are hunter-gatherers. They understand that they cannot make rabbits. Rabbits already exist in nature. They understand that they cannot make reindeer. Reindeer already exist. Great art that sells already exists in nature. They hunt that art. And then, when they make art themselves, they use the building blocks of all that art that sells extremely well. And then they increase the certainty that their art sells as well. Because their art now is in line with the demands in the marketplace. Good artists don't watch YouTube. They hunt YouTube. Good artists don't go to art fairs. They hunt art fairs. Good artists don't watch TikTok. They watch hot girls talk about manifestation and shifting realities. And so, how are you going to do this in a practical standpoint, from a practical way? What are the steps? How can you actually put all of this in practice? What are the galleries doing with this information to make sure that they have artists that sell, to make sure that they actually make money? Well, I have a simple 3-step formula. Step 1, hunt. Go to art fairs in the world and look at which art is selling best. Take pictures of that art. Ask the galleries, what is the best selling art at this moment? Respect their time and take note of this. Go to the online galleries and look at what art sells and then take screenshots of this. Go to the galleries, the fastest growing galleries in the world, and look at what art they are representing. Look at what solo shows they are building and take note of all of this. Step 2, gather. Take all of your screenshots, all of your pictures, and put them in a file. You make sure that you have 300 artworks in this file, and then ask yourself, why is this art selling very well? And then come up with reasons and write those reasons down. Step 3, kill the animals. Kill your darlings. For every artwork you've created 10 reasons. Of those 10 reasons, 8 or 9 reasons will be complete crap. And so you are left with 300 to 400 reasons, of which most will be overlapping. So you're actually left with 40 to 50 handy commandments that drive sales for your art. Now you can make this file over a long period of time. You don't have to do this in 1 week. And the file that you create, the reasons that you create, will serve you for the next 20 to 30 years of your life. This is a very long-term strategy. Throughout this video, we talked about social media overload, having too many artworks in your studio, and doing way too much research. I've provided solutions for all of these problems in a video called Starting Your Art Business, a guide for introverts without an audience. I also have a free newsletter where I give specific details on how to sell your art. Link in the description and in the end screen. That's it. Get the hell out of here.